Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today we are going to use Pingendo to build a website. Pingendo is a bootstrap builder. It uses the bootstrap framework to build website. It's a graphical user interface, so it supports drag and drop and makes the process of building a website really easy. It's really fast, especially if you're familiar with Bootstrap. So I'm already at the Pingendo.com website. If you click on download now, they have different versions for your operating system, Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. So it is cross-platform, and they do come in two different flavors, I guess. It's 64-bit and 32-bit. I'm not going to install it as I already have it installed, but you can pretty much download the zip file, unzip it into your desktop, and run the executable. So I have already installed my version, so I'm going to run by typing Pingendo, and I'm doing this in Ubuntu. This is Linux. The first thing that you're prompted with when you open Pingendo, it is this dialog box. Pretty much they trying to get you to get the premium version. This is what they get the money. And so the only difference is the fact that as you can see here at the bottom right hand corner, there is a Pingendo logo. So the finished website with the free version had some ads included, which is not a big deal. And also, you're not with the free version, you're not supposed to use it for commercial use. So those are the two only caveats that you have. Other than that, I mean, the free version, it's really I find it amazing, really. And so I'm going to close out of here, and the next thing you get prompted is with this projects dialog box. So I'm going to exit out of here too, and what we're going to do, we're going to build a website using Pingendo. This one I built it yesterday, and this is what I'm going to try to replicate today. You have the top at the top of the graphical user interface, you have this section which allows you to save, preview it in the browser. You can clone the web page, you can delete the web page, you can undo and redo changes, as well as see the web page in different render the web page in different devices, mobile device, tablets, laptops, and desktops. So if I click on the preview, it will open the browser and it will render my page. Let me know. Let me see how my page will look in the browser. Also, I can preview the work here. What it looks like for mobile devices, tablets, and laptops and desktops. So on the left hand side, we have different options. If we click on the plus sign, notice that we have Nav bars, we have covers, we have galleries, forms, footers, and pretty much everything that you can find in Bootstrap they have included here. However, they have seemed to customize this form. They have given it, I guess, a Pingendo kind of theme, which is already included it. So you have to drag and drop. You get the form and you drop it whatever you want inside the page. And then on the right hand side, we have three tabs here at the top. We have the Elements tab, which it's the properties for the element that you select on the page, as well as any child elements inside that element. And so you can set the ID, you can add classes, the classes that are fully compatible with Bootstrap. You can set the width, the height, the margin, the padding, the background, text, borders, the behavior for the form, as well as some styles that are already included here. If you click on the theme, you have the theme of the name of the .css file, the style file, responsible for rendering the style for your page. Settings, base colors. These are the colors that you set at the page for your theme. For example, the color for the body section is this color right here. For the text is white, and for the links is this green color here. And then in this section, which is the palette section, notice that we have different colors, and every single one of these colors match a class. So these classes are already available to you, so when you include any of these classes, it automatically the page will get this color. And then the typography section, this is for your fonts, the font family, and for your headings display, and so on. So, and lastly, the page section, you can set some property at the page level, like favicon, some stuff for search engine optimization, like title, description, and things like that. And so that is the quick intro that I wanted to cover about the graphical interface. So let's get with building our page. So I'm going to close out of here, and I'm going to click on File, and I'm going to click on New Project, New Blank Project, and I'm going to click on this directory icon, and I'm going to browse into my work directory, and I'm going to create a directory called Travel Company, and I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to click Create. And target directory is not empty, files might be overwritten. Okay, so let's see why it's not empty. Okay, so I've recreated the directory, which is, I kept the same name, Travel Company, and then I click Create. And Pingendo, when creates a new project, it creates 3 pages. One is blank.html, the other one is style guide.html, and theme CSS. And this is your style, and this is your page where you will be doing most of the work. And this style guide.html is a page that contains some examples for you to use in your page. So I'm going to double click on this blank.html, and that is going to open it in my Pingendo interface. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to head over to themes, and I'm going to change this white for a different color. I'm going to say 222, and it takes a little bit. Okay, here we go. It takes a little bit for the color to take effect. Later I will be changing that color, but anyways, next I'm going to click on this plus sign, and I'm going to head over to Nav Bars, and I'm going to get the first Nav Bar, this one, and I'm going to place it at the top of the page. So I'm going to select that Nav Bar, and notice here at the bottom, this section that says HTML and SAS. If I click on it and drag it to the top, and notice that when I select an item within my page, the corresponding code for that element gets also selected inside the HTML code. This is incredible. I mean, I find this to be very useful, as you can find your code really fast by just selecting a specific element. And so also you can edit things on the fly. For example, if you want to change the name or some text, you just click on the text and type your text. So I'm going to call my I'm going to name it Travel World USA. That's going to be the name of my travel company, and notice that as I type, the corresponding code gets also highlighted. So next I'm going to change the icon. Notice that now the icon gets selected. I'm going to go into elements, and because the nav bar is selected, actually what I got selected now is the icon, and the icon is a child of the brand, which is this section here, which is a child of the nav bar. And so instead of a fake cloud, I'm going to change it to a more descriptive logo for my site. So I'm going to call it ship, and yes, we have a ship, and I'm going to give it just a little bit of a space here. There we go. And I'm going to next change the color of the background of the nav bar. So everything is done here in the class section. So the nav bar has a class of primary. These are your colors here. So if you're kind of confused what class you want to use, you can refer back to this theme palette. And for my nav bar, I'm going to give it instead of primary, I'm going to say background dark, and that changes the color. I think it looks better. Next, I want to remove this bookmark, and I also want to remove this sign in button. Also, I want to make the nav bar, the actual links and logos, to take the whole width of the nav bar. So I want to stretch it out to the full width of the nav bar. So I'm going to inside borders. Actually, the only thing that I need to do, because the nav bar is inside a container, I just need to remove this container tag right here, and also I need to remove this div, which is the end of the container. Now my nav bar stretches the full width of the page. Later I will be adding, actually I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to add some links to my nav bar. So if with the nav bar selected, if I click on this plus sign, it's going to give me a drop down menu with some options that I can add into my nav. So I'm going to now add a nav, and I already have a nav bar, or a nav which is within the nav bar already created. So later I'm going to style and edit this, but for now I'm going to keep going. I want to continue creating my page, so I'm going to head over to the plus sign, and then I'm going to go into cover, and I'm going to select this one. I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to place it underneath my nav bar. And with that selected, I want to first, I'm going to remove this button, and then I'm going to change the color. Actually, I want to change the background first. And notice that with that selection selected, if I go inside background, what it says image, that's my image, and I want to change that image. So I have already an image, which I'm going to, since it's a travel site, I'm going to look for an image of the city of Rome. I'm going to say Rome, and I'm going to city images. I'm going to get this one. Since I'm not going to sell the website, I'm going to get this image. I'm going to click on open image in new tab, and I don't need this stuff right here, and so I'm going to copy the full address. I'm going to head back into Pingendo, and I'm going to paste it there. So notice that my image is not displaying correctly. It's not displaying the whole width of the page. So I'm going to next head over to position. I want to go into position, and I'm going to say center, center. And next I want to go to size, and I'm going to say cover. And now it's taking the whole page. And finally I'm going to say no repeat. And that's it for my background. Next I want to make this text white. So I'm going to go inside text, and I'm going to go inside color, and I'm going to select light. Okay, and so next I want to change this text to also let's say secondary light. Okay, that's better. And instead of display 3, let's see display 2. Okay, that's a little bit better. Also I want to change this. Instead of claim here, I want to say, for example, book tour now. And here I'm going to change this text to visit Italy. I'm going to say visit historic Italy. And I want to make this button get close. I want to shrink the make it the height of the cover section. I want to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to head over to borders, and actually I'm going to go inside box, and when it says padding, instead of vertical 5, I'm going to get vertical 2. And yes, that's better. So next I'm going to add an article. So I'm going to head over to the article section, and I'm going to drag this article here. So that is my next section. And I want to change the color of the page. So I'm going to go into theme, and where it says text, I'm going to type white, and it'll take a little bit. Okay, here we go. And so I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to say visit Napoli. And here I'm going to say visit Rome. These are some nice articles from my travel company, or for this specific tour that I'm offering. And so here I want to put a title for this specific section. So I'm going to select that section. I'm going to go inside the HTML, and right before the container, I want to create an H1 tag, and I'm going to say articles. Actually, travel sites. And you might want to constantly save your work, and notice that it is pinned to the left, so I want to make it center. I'm going to go into themes. I want to make that item selected, and inside class I want to say text center. Now that it's at the center, also I want to, let's say, display 4. Okay, so that makes it bigger. And I want to change the background of the page to something that fits the theme of the page a little bit better. I want to get the background of the page something similar to this color right here. So I'm going to get that color from my browser. I'm going to, actually I can render the page to see how the work is coming up. Okay, so I'm going to change it to something similar to this. I'm going to inspect that. I'm going to click on the body section, then I'm going to invoke the color palette, and I'm going to click on this color picker, and I'm going to select that color, and I think it looks a lot better. I'm going to keep this color, so I'm going to copy here and head over to themes, and underneath body I'm going to paste that color, and it'll take a little bit, and we have a brand new color. So next I'm going to head over to the next section. The next section I'm going to do packages that I'm offering, travel packages that I'm offering. So I'm going to search for pricing, and I'm going to drag it underneath the travel sites section, and I'm going to also change the background here. And notice that when the item is selected, background color is secondary, so I want to change that to none so the actual background reflects through. And I'm going to also add a title to this section, so I'm going to go in again inside HTML. We'll make sure that part is selected. Again, inside, just before the container, I'm going to say travel packages, and I'm going to make, I'm going to make class text center, and display 4. Those are the two classes that I want to add. And yes, so moving on, later I want to make a little bit of margin between the title of each individual section and the components around it, but I'm going to keep moving on right now. So the next section I want to add some schedule or the itinerary for my travel tour. So I want to go inside list, and I'm going to drag this one, and I'm going to place it right here. Notice that every time I drag something, Pingendo kind of highlights the location where it will be inserted. So with that item selected, I'm going to open the HTML, and I have 3 items. This is an unordered list, and so I'm going to copy the 3 list items, and I'm going to paste it down here just to make the list bigger. And also I'm going to add another title. I know that at this point it's getting a little bit repetitive, but bear with me. I'm going to call this one tour schedule, and again I'm going to make it class. I want to make it text center and display 4. And let's see, I want to give it also a little bit of margin, and so I'm going to go inside borders, actually box, that's the one that I'm looking for. And margin, let's do some vertical 4, yes. And I need to do the same thing for this one, margin vertical 4, and also for this one, margin vertical 4. Okay, and so now moving on to the next section. The next section is a contact form, which I'm going to add by clicking on forms, and I'm going to drag this form into here. Did it copy it? No. Let's do it again. Okay, so this time it worked. My form is a little bit too wide. I want to make it smaller, so I'm going to, with the form selected, notice that I have section container. I need to make sure that I select the specific item. In this case, I'm looking for the form, so I'm going to drill down all the way to the form. Make sure I have the form selected. Then I'm going to say column, because I want to specify the width of the form, and I'm going to make it column 6 across. No, column 6 is too small. Let's do column 8. I want to make it 8 columns across all devices, and I want to center it, so I'm going to say MX Auto, and that looks better now. And next I'm going to also insert an H1 element that says contact, and again I want to make it text center in the display 4, and I want to give it box margin vertical 4, and that should be it. Yes. And finally I want to add a footer, so I'm trying to rush here. I don't want to take too long. As you can see, it's really easy to prototype a website using Pingendo. I don't see footers here, but I've seen it in the past, so it must be somewhere around. So let's try cards. Okay, so in order to find footers, I needed to click on selections, and then it is right here, footers. And I'm going to select this one. I'm going to drag it and place it right here. And with the footer selected, I want to get rid of a few things. I don't need this, I don't need this, and this. And I don't need that one either. And I think that's it. No, that is it. So now I have my 3 icons, my 3 social icons, and this copyright. But I want to make the social icon center. Notice that I have 3 different columns inside this row, and so I'm going to select that element. I'm going to drag it over. And in order to make it center, I want to go inside every single div. By the way, Pingendo also supports multi-selection, so I'm going to say text center, and now my 3 social icons have been centered. And so let's go ahead and render the page, see how it looks. And it looks great. I mean, for half-hour work, not bad. So the only thing that we're missing is to actually link these Navbar items to a specific section of the page, and also I want to add a modal to my page, so when someone clicks on book tour now, they have a modal or a pop-up registration box that they can fill and submit. So let's get on with the modal first. I'm going to head over to the end of the page, and I'm going to click on my plus sign. I'm going to head over to orders, and this is my modal. So I'm going to drag the modal, and I'm going to place it at the bottom of the page. And notice that my modal is here, and if I render the page, the modal is nowhere to be found. It is there, it is in the code of the page, but the modal only will be invoked when you click a button. So it's kind of like a behavior. But before, I'm going to edit my modal. So I'm going to enter, let's say, enter, actually, so I'm going to say equally towards registration, and don't need the E. And so next, and this, by the way, this is the header of my modal, and this is the body. If I go into the HTML section, and you can see I have a modal header and I have a modal body and a footer. So I'm going to get rid of this button. I don't need it. And for instead of close, I'm going to say book now. And inside the body of the model, what I want to actually do, I'm going to add a form. And so I'm going to head over my forms, and I'm going to drag a form in there. So I'm going to place it in there, and I want to edit it a little bit. I want to get rid of this. Actually, I want to move it here. So I'm going to say enter your email and name to get more information. And so in this section, I'm going to remove this item, which is a small text. I'm going to remove that. Instead of password, what I want is enter name. And instead of password for the for the placeholder, I want something like full name. And I'm going to, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice already. I'm going to remove the submit button, and that is my form. Next, I want to set the behavior for the form. So I'm going to give it an ID. I'm going to make sure I select the form again, and the ID will be modal and register, and that's the ID for my model, for my modal. I'm sorry, having a tough time pronouncing the word. And next, I want to set the behavior for this button. So I'm going to go inside behavior, and on click, I'm going to say open modal. In the target, I'm going to say pound modal register, and I'm going to save, and I'm going to preview it in my browser. And if I click on book now, no, nothing happened. So okay, back to the modal, I'm sorry. And the reason that it's not firing is because the ID was added to the wrong element. So I'm going to remove the ID from here, and I'm going to add it into my modal, and I'm going to save that and try it again. And now it is working. And so that's it for this tutorial. The only thing that I missed was to actually link the Navbar items to a specific element in the page, which is really not that difficult. All we have to do is to go back into our Navbar and select for each item a behavior, which is the target that it will go to, basically linking to the ID of a specific section. And so that's it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and as always, subscribe, and thanks for watching.